Today we are covering backup withholding requirements. The exam will test your knowledge of when a payer must withhold a flat 24% tax from payments that are normally not subject to withholding. This applies to payments like interest, dividends, rents, and payments to independent contractors, all things reported on a Form 1099. The most common trigger for backup withholding is a failure by the payee to provide a correct Taxpayer Identification Number, or TIN. For example, a client opens a new bank account that will pay interest. The bank requires the client to complete a Form W-9, which is where the client certifies their TIN under penalty of perjury. If the client fails to provide this form, the bank must begin backup withholding at 24% on all interest payments. An exam question might state that a freelance graphic designer refuses to provide a Form W-9 to a new corporate client. If the client pays the designer $1,000 for a project, the client is required to withhold $240 and remit it to the IRS. A common exam trap is to confuse this with regular wage withholding. Backup withholding is a flat 24% and applies to 1099 reportable payments, not W-2 wages. Another critical area for the exam is the IRS B-notice process. This happens when a payer files a Form 1099 with a name and TIN combination that doesn't match IRS records. The IRS will send a B-notice to the payer. The payer's first responsibility is to send a copy to the payee, requesting a corrected Form W-9 within 30 days. Withholding does not start immediately. It only begins if the payee fails to provide a new certified W-9. If a second B-notice is issued for the same account within 3 years, the payee must obtain validation of their TIN directly from the Social Security Administration or the IRS. Backup withholding can also be initiated if the IRS notifies a payer that a payee has underreported interest or dividend income. The key here is that the instruction must come directly from the IRS. A payer cannot start withholding just because they suspect underreporting. To stop the withholding, the client must fix the root cause. If it's a TIN issue, they must provide a valid, certified Form W-9 to the payer. If it's due to underreporting, they must file the required tax returns, pay the tax, and the IRS will eventually notify payers to stop withholding. For a simple way to remember the core concept, just think, W-9 is the key, or 24% you'll see. This directly links the failure to provide a correct Form W-9 with the mandatory 24% withholding rate that the exam will test you on.